Sometimes when I write these chapters, I'm not writing a biography of any one of the presidents, and with some presidents, it's pretty easy to figure out, well, what angle am I going to cover, to make it relevant for marketing and advertising and innovation, things like that. But Teddy Roosevelt, chapter 26, is not one of those people. One of the most fascinating characters, love him or hate him, in all of for all of United States presidents. Dozens of biographies written about him and different aspects of his life. Just fantastic overall. Really fascinating character. I took the opportunity, though, in this chapter to talk about sustainability and that idea of kind of understanding natural resources and understanding that this is a big area. We've talked about this before, right? Infrastructure, taxation, sustainable resources. All of these things don't seem a lot like what most people think about marketing and advertising, but in reality, kind of the advertising that you see is kind of like a tip of the iceberg. Most of what makes marketing work is below the waterline, things you can't see. Resource management, talent management, leadership, things like that just aren't as obvious to most people. And Teddy Roosevelt certainly fits this category. So we talk about the creation of the national parks, and we talk about all of those pieces. And it's funny to think about that. I wanted to tell some of those stories, and I wanted to give you a little taste in this excerpt of the situation that Roosevelt faced. Now, just keep in mind, he was a person who deeply knew and loved the outdoors. He had spent all kinds of time in the outdoors for a number of reasons. So he deeply understood what the problems were and really what was going on. So when this situation happened, most other presidents may not have handled it in the same way, but Roosevelt understood the opportunity it created. So here's the excerpt. In the late 1800s, the issue wasn't food waste that I covered previously, it was bird waste. Feathers were high fashion, a staple of the wardrobes of women of means. Decorative hats featured the plumage of dozens of exotic birds. Photographs from the time showcase an incredible variety. The bigger, the better. The more exotic, the better. And it didn't stop with hats. Feathers are so ubiquitous in the period's art and culture that they almost blend into the scenery. However, high society's thin veneer hid a bloodbath. To meet the demand, humans slaughtered waterfowl and songbirds by the billions. A single feather order from one London dealer in 1892 included 6,000 birds of paradise, 40,000 hummingbirds, and 360,000 various East Indian species. In a single order from 1902, 192,000 herons met their end to supply 1,608 30-ounce packages of feathers. It should come as no surprise that the demand led to unsustainable losses in bird populations. Scientists of the time warned that no less than 67 species of birds were at risk of imminent extinction. At the time, middle-class women in the United States and Great Britain, as well as the newly created Audubon Society, with dozens of local chapters, tried shaming consumers away from feathered hats. With less demand, they reasoned, supply would dry up and hunting would stop. While their efforts certainly helped, consumer demand was too strong. Feathered hats were stunning fashion pieces. A noisy flock of birds nesting in some far-off swamp couldn't compete for attention. To meet growing demand, hunters began to encroach ever closer into bird nesting areas, leading to population crashes and shortages, which perversely increased the scarcity and hence the appeal of the plumage. Birds needed a champion. They got one, oddly, from the end of a gun. That's the excerpt this time. It's actually one of the first chapters I wrote way back when, in 2018, 2019, when I was assembling this as a book proposal. This is one of the first sample chapters I wrote. It's gone through a couple of iterations certainly since then, but this particular story about the birds and about feathered hats was one that just captured my attention right away. and just understanding who Theodore Roosevelt was and his unique place right at that time and place and situation, how those all had to match up in order for this particular event to happen and this transition in sustainability. So excellent if you're interested in sustainability, interested in sustainable leadership, resource management. This is the chapter for you. Chapter 26, Theodore Roosevelt, Marketer-in-Chief, coming July 4th, 2021. Pre-orders available now. I'll see you there.